You know that feeling, right? When you steal from a shopkeeper in a video game and feel just a little bit guilty? Or when you save a villager from some monster and feel a rush of pride? Well, for as long as we've played games, that's been a one-way street. But all of that is about to change. We are on the verge of a revolution, one that's blurring the line between code and consciousness, turning those simple NPCs into characters who can feel those exact same things right back at you.
And look, this isn't some sci-fi movie set in the distant future. This is happening right now, in game development studios around the world. That shopkeeper you robbed, that villager you saved, they won't just follow a script anymore. They will remember what you did, they will feel something about it, and yeah, some of them might even want to get even.
It's a pretty wild question when you think about it, isn't it? How can lines of code actually hold a grudge? Well, it's not magic. It's a huge leap forward in artificial intelligence that's giving these characters something like a digital consciousness. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how it works.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and see what's really driving this thing. What is the engine that's turning these, digital puppets into what feel like living, breathing characters?
The secret sauce here, the real game changer, is putting large language models, you've probably heard of them as LLMs, right into the game's DNA. Now think of the AI that powers chatbots. It's that same kind of tech, but instead of just answering questions, it's giving these characters the power to think, to reason, and to talk in ways we've just never seen before.
So how do you even begin to build a digital mind? Well, developers are basically focusing on three critical pillars that give these NPCs all their new depth. That's memory, emotions, and, get this, autonomous decisions. Let's kick things off with the absolute foundation of any thinking being, memory.
First things first, these new characters never, ever forget. Their memory is layered, a lot like ours, actually. They've got short-term memory, so they'll remember you just insulted their sword. They've got long-term memory to keep track of every favor and every betrayal. And they have episodic memory, so they'll never forget that time you two saved the kingdom together. Every single thing you do with them matters, and it all gets filed away.
And the sheer scale of this is just mind-blowing. A single NPC can now log up to 50,000 different events. To put that into perspective, that is way more words than are in the average novel. Every chat, every trade, every double cross, it's all being recorded. It creates this incredibly rich history of your relationship that will directly shape how they act in the future.
Now this is where it gets really cool, because that massive memory is what fuels the second pillar, complex emotions. These NPCs can now process and show 127 different emotional states. What you do directly impacts their trust level. It moves a literal anger and forgiveness meter, and it can even forge these incredibly powerful loyalty bonds. And this visual just lays it out perfectly. An NPC's feelings toward you aren't just a simple on or off switch anymore. Nope. It's this whole sliding scale, from absolute seething hatred all the way to unbreakable loyalty. So if you're a good friend, you might earn an ally for life. But if you betray them, well, good luck trying to earn that trust back.
And that brings us to what is, for my money, the most revolutionary pillar of all, autonomy. Because they have memory and emotions, these characters are no longer just sitting around waiting for you to walk up and give them a quest. They have their own goals, their own desires. They'll scheme to get rich, they'll plot revenge, and they'll build complex relationships with other NPCs. All of this happening in the background, whether you're even there to see it or not.
Okay, so we've covered the theory, we've seen the building blocks, but what does this actually look like in a game? Let's dive into a couple of scenarios to see what happens when your actions have real and sometimes very permanent consequences.
So picture this. You steal a valuable item from a merchant. In the old days, the NPC would just reset. But the new NPC? Oh, it's a whole different ballgame. Right away, he calls the guards and ups his security. In the short term, he jacks up his prices for you by like 300%. But then, long term, he starts telling everyone in town what a thief you are, destroying your reputation. And if you really tick him off, he might just hire a couple of assassins to hunt you down. Seriously, even small actions can have huge cascading consequences now.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. It works both ways. Let's say you rescue a random villager from some bandits. Their memory of your heroism fires up all those positive emotions, and they start making their own decisions to help you. It starts small, a reward, maybe some discounts or useful tips, but over time, they could become your most loyal ally, telling all their friends how great you are, maybe even rising up to become a faction leader in their own right, all because of one good deed you did hours ago.
These individual character examples are amazing, but they're really just the tip of the iceberg. What they point to is something much bigger. We are literally witnessing a massive shift in how we tell stories in games. And this slide really nails the key difference. We're moving away from the old way, from those rigid, pre-planned quest trees, where your choices were pretty limited. We're now stepping into the era of emergent storytelling, where the story is actually co-created by you and the hundreds of other intelligent characters who are living out their lives in that world.
And that right there is the key phrase you're going to be hearing a lot: emergent storytelling. All it means is that the story isn't written down somewhere. It grows organically from all the chaotic and unpredictable interactions between you and a world full of characters who all have their own agendas. So one time you play, you might be a hero. The next time, your actions might accidentally spark a civil war. Every single playthrough is its own unique personal story.
Now, of course, this kind of power brings a whole new set of headaches for developers. For starters, it takes an insane amount of processing power to run hundreds of these digital minds at the same time. But maybe the trickiest part is making sure these free-thinking characters don't just go completely off the rails and break the game's world, right? You can't have a peaceful farmer suddenly deciding to become a dragon-slaying king just because he feels like it. It's this delicate dance between freedom and, making sure the story still makes sense.
This tech is already here, and it is moving at an absolutely blistering pace. So where does it go from here? Well, you might want to buckle up, because the future of these digital souls is going to be one heck of a ride.
Just look at how fast this is going to happen. By the end of 2026, that's just around the corner. It's predicted that half of all big-budget games will be using this tech. By 2027, an NPC's memory could expand to over 1 million events. And beyond that, we're talking about NPCs forming their own cults, their own social movements, all on their own. Can you imagine logging in one day and finding out a bunch of NPCs started a new religion based on something you did? The possibilities are kind of endless and, honestly, a little bit terrifying.
And all of this rapid change is carving out a brand new genre of game. People are starting to call them living world simulators, and they are the ultimate expression of this emergent storytelling. These games won't just have a story, the game is the story, constantly changing and evolving with your every single move. They're going to set a completely new bar for what immersion feels like, creating worlds that are truly dynamically alive.
Which really just leaves us with one final, pretty profound question. When a character in a game remembers you, when it forms a real emotional bond with you, and makes its own choices based on a whole history of experiences you've shared, at what point are they still just a bunch of ones and zeros? Or have we actually, finally, created some kind of new life? I don't think the answer is simple, and it's something we're all going to have to think about as we step into this brave new world of digital souls.